Hey, look down there, Mrs. Sharples. The whole world is changing. They're pulling it down. Someday, everyone will have to be rehoused. Coronation Street will be down, and all other streets like it. The whole world is changing.
We're back, Cornbrook Part 2, and I'm stood just near the Bridgewater Way, near Chester Road. I'm actually probably stood above the Cornbrook now. Behind the camera is Cornbrook tram station, and the Cornbrook runs that way behind James, yonder. Shortly we'll be underneath here and an absolute stinking quagmire again. He's laughing because he doesn't know what we're about to encounter. I'm shitting it, and I genuinely am. So anyway, let's crack on, drop down below ground and go and get on with Cornbrook Part 2. So there you go, there's a rough guide to the route of the River Cornbrook as it makes its way from East Manchester over to Pomona Island and outfalls into the River Irwell. Manchester's lost river because the bulk of it is underground in culverts. In this episode, episode 2, you can see the two arrows I've put there, the red arrows, and that indicates the route we'll be taking today. Not very far, I hear you say, but far enough in this subterranean, stoopy, back-breaking river. And there you go, that's today's team. So you've got me on the left there, obviously James in the middle, whom you know, and Roy, our guide, and for whom the Cornbrook has become an old friend and an adversary. Absolutely awful. You can see it's just black, and that's why I've got the gas meter with me, because it's we're going into that. Absolutely filthy. Anyway, are you looking forward to it?
No.
You've got sweat on.
Bring it on again and again.
It's a bit of a crawl, isn't it? Oh, what? It better not be. Does that mean it's full up? Let me come and have a look. Let me go and assess the situation.
So this is a lot more flow on this than there was last time.
No, it's not the flowing problem.
Right.
It's silted up quite a lot.
So this
No, it's filled up with much silt since last time. We don't normally stoop like this.
right. Yeah. Right, so we're in. So if you remember on Cornbrook 1, that's as far as Roy got up to that arch there, just on the other side of that arch, and he was sinking really, really deep. So we're now down, obviously, as you know, at the bottom of this manhole. This is my nemesis, to be honest with you, because last time I came in here, we were sinking and it was horrendous, so I really don't like being here. He's not sinking just at the moment. We've got a long way to go up there behind James, but this is the worst bit for me. I hate this bit, absolutely hate it. There's a fair bit of flow, which it wasn't flowing last time, but then again it is November. There's not been a vast amount of rain, but yeah, it's horrific. It's horrific.
He's got a few very, hasn't
It's what? All I've got is a shot of James's ass.
You got one front there? You come up front a bit then.
Right, let me get in front of you.
Well then. You go to that side, in the middle kind of thing, and I'll light it so no one's in front of you.
I'm going up the side, pal.
Right.
Now, just as we get started, I wanted to point out a few interesting buildings that were around this area at the time. As we go here, just underneath the Bridgewater Way, you'll notice to the top right of that modern map, Ellesmere Street. Here's the old map around 1900 of Ellesmere Street, and you'll notice there, Cornbrook Brewery. Now, what was that all about? Long since gone. So, this is Ellesmere Street in Manchester. We're not far from part 1 here, but I want to show you this. This is the remains of the old Cornbrook Brewery. I'm going to show you an old picture. Well, that pile of bricks there and that site was where the old Cornbrook Brewery was. Over here on this side of the road was the headquarters to the brewery, and I've got a picture of that as well. This new office blocks takes the place now of it. And I'm looking forward to getting out of this box, because I don't trust this mud at all.
I've just sunk. I'm sinking. Oh, I am and all.
You are?
Yeah. That's just an example of how bad it is.
The only sinking stops down there.
It does, where that ladder is.
Right.
Oh. Well, you see, here in a minute. Getting softer. Yeah. Right, stick to the left here. There's a bit of mud and it's easy to walk. There you go. Right. Where's this? It's okay here now. You stay on the left. It's nice and flat and stand up.
Well, you're right, James. I absolutely hate this bit. I know it looks nothing on camera, but the mud is awful. What's that water up ahead? Look at it.
Side pipe, see that.
Right. Are we out this concrete box in a sec?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a big stone arch.
Right, let's go. Okay, so we're about to leave this concrete box and we're going on the Chester Road now. And you'll see where we go back to an old part of the culvert. And we're going into stone and brick, which is, wow, it's absolutely fantastic. And the bottom, the floor is a little bit more normal, which is good. That's a relief. Look at this now. How beautiful is that? Wow. And you could probably see I was a bit stressed then, because last time we were in there, going the other way from where we just entered, it was just nightmarish. So the mud, you were sinking into the mud. That was more compact, it was better. So it's a relief to get here where we are now. An absolute relief, but that bit there is horrendous. At one time, the Cornbrook would have ran to here and probably emerged back out on the street again where the stone ends there. Well, this is what we said right at the beginning, that the Cornbrook is so many different facets to it. Concrete, stone, brick. It's incredible. I'll just show you some roof detail.
It is impressive. This is all the way down to Pomona at one point, wasn't it? When you put the Bridgewater Way in.
Right, as you can can see, we've got a small watercourse joining the Cornbrook here. It's not, it is a watercourse, but it's not listed or named or anything like that. And it's only one of the very few contributors to the downward flow downstream towards Pomona Island. When Roy came here a few years ago, upstream from here was completely dry. And he was asking the question, why is it so dry? And we may encounter parts upstream that are actually dry, and we're going to explain that to you, why some of the Cornbrook is almost dry, but as you can see here, one of the very few contributors to the Cornbrook. We're going to crack on upstream. We're entering what looks like to be a spray-created section now. Is that right, Roy?
Yeah.
Spray-crete or is it concrete?
Spray-crete.
So, I don't know if you can hear me, but there's a rather concerning bulge above us in the culvert. They're building some flats above. The dreaded spray-crete. So this would have been quite picturesque at one point. But if you're wondering where we are now, we're below a place called Virgil Street in Manchester. And like I say, you've seen this is spray-created. But you can actually see the original parts of the culvert. If you look down at the bottom of the spray-crete, you can see the original stone. I'll just show you now. And all the time you can hear banging above. It's that there's a building site above, but it's most concerning, these bulges in the culvert. Very concerning, to be honest with you. Have you brought someone for a brew?
Yeah.
Right, we won't have a brew yet, but we'll be having a bit. So the height of the culvert has lowered a bit now. You'll see the boys going forward, so I'm just going to get to the other side and torch in a bit. Right, this manhole here, I want to draw your attention to it because I'm just going to jump above ground here because we're underneath the old Hulme Barracks. So we're going to go above ground. I'm going to tell you something. Okay, so we're above ground. Over to my left is City Road. We're not far from Hulme here. The area behind me was called St George's Park, but it was renamed to Barrack Park in the 1990s. Now, why was it renamed? Some of you may have noticed on the old maps. Let's jump back to the maps and I'll tell you why it was renamed Barrack Park. But the Cornbrook is right underneath us now where we stand. Okay, firstly, the Google Maps. There you go. There's the modern day Google Maps. You'll see Chester Road and you'll see Cornbrook Park Road is just a short street currently. If we move over to the older maps, this is around 1850, this map. There's the Cornbrook running open, the blue line. Look at that. Cornbrook Park Road is there, much bigger road at the moment as it is there, so parts of it must have been demolished. You'll see the only bit that's culverted is the top end of the map where the blue line ceases, so it's culverted there. But next to the Cornbrook that's running open, look there, the pink area, that it says Cavalry Barracks. Now those barracks have got a bit of a history to them. There are some reminders in the area of what used to be there, and one of the parks has been renamed as Barrack Park, as I've mentioned. But what's that history about the barracks? Let's have a look. So, the barracks. We've got a date of about 1817 when they opened. One of the regiments that was based here was the 15th Hussars, and they earned themselves quite a reputation, a sinister reputation, in Manchester's history. You may have heard of the Peterloo Massacre. The Peterloo Massacre, Monday the 16th of August 1819. Approximately 60,000 people gathered to demand the reform of parliamentary representation in St Peter's Fields in Manchester. Many of them had come from miles around. In the crowd there were women and children, and lots of people were dressed in the Sunday best. Now the powers that be didn't like this organised protest, and they didn't like the organisers either. The local yeomanry was sent in to arrest people and arrest the organisers. The violence escalated, and at this point Cheshire Magistrates Chairman William Hulton summoned the 15th Hussars from the Hulme Barracks to disperse the crowd. What followed was a massacre. Depending on what you read, it's thought about 18 people died, and between 420 and 500 people were injured, many of them seriously injured. So the barracks, is there anything left of it? Well, there is. This building here, this was the officers' quarters, and it's all that's left of the old barracks. But looks like it's residential now, but that's the only clue we've got to the barracks and what they looked like at the time. So what became of the barracks that have got that notorious place in history, in Manchester's history? Well, it became a park, initially St George's Park and then renamed to Barrack Park. So where soldiers and horses once did drill practice, children now play. Are you putting that walk on?
Yeah. Just trying to walk off that spoon's breakfast.
The Wetherspoon's breakfast on the way here, by the way. We needed the energy. So far, the gas meter hasn't gone off.
Smelly.
But it's very smelly here. Oxygen levels are 20.9, which is fine. 21% if you want to call it that. Right, so another concrete sort of bolted together bit, which is creating a lovely mirror defect to get on the water.
Yeah. It's a shame a lot of the brickwork has been covered in this stretch and strengthened.
Yeah. See how the spraycrete is just put a thin layer on the brick and then we're concreting over there. But yeah, we should be looking at brick now, but instead we're looking at this. Right, so the spraycrete's ended and we've got a nice bit of brickwork for you. Look at that.
Amazing.
Now there's something interesting I want to show you, Roy's telling me about. This is quite amazing, this bit. Imagine sometime in the 1800s they did the culverting, they had the brick arch. But originally all we had was the stone there at the sides. And that would have been the original riverbank of the Cornbrook. Whereabouts are we here now, Roy?
Towards City Road. City Road's just up ahead of us.
So City Road's ahead of us. But at one time, kids would have probably sat on the edge of there, looking down into the Cornbrook, you know, collecting tadpoles or whatever. And then at some point in the 1800s, we had this brick put over it. You can see there, if you look at that shadow, look how it sort of circles round there, the brickwork. Absolutely fantastic, and you can tell it's old because we've got the stalactites and stalagmites. But yeah, can you imagine it was just an open course of water? Anyway, cracking on down towards City Road.
There's a 10-foot arch, so we'll take near the end of it. Just say we're leaving with a 10-foot arch.
Lovely sort of stuff, look at that. Got a bit of grass growing in there. So far, no rats. Not seen a rat yet, have we?
No.
Wouldn't mind seeing a rat. Might make a change.
No.
You don't want to see a rat?
I could do without seeing.
As long as they're running away from you, it's alright.
Yeah, it's when they're running at you, thousands.
I've got your trousers,
When they're
James.
jumping at your neck.
Yeah.
Stay to this side.
Right, all good things come to an end. We've been in this beautiful sort of 10-foot high brick sort of chamber, culvert, and now we're going back to steepiness down there. And up ahead I can hear water flowing. What's that about? Do you know what that's about?
Yeah, I don't know where that at this point.
So we're a bit steepy again now, not good. And then I can hear, let's go and find out what the mystery of the running water is.
An older manhole.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Another manhole there. And you'll get an impression of how deep we are. Not mega deep, maybe about, what, 10, 12 foot. Look at this old dressed stone though in the water. Look at that. Now, can you tell me when that was dressed and done maybe for the riverbank? Incredible.
That's weird, right.
Oh, weird.
That's why we could hear the noise.
Well,
That's interesting. I'm not sure what's going on here.
yeah. Now that's
This is
interesting.
original.
So that's interesting. That if you look at the sort of stone, almost what would you call it? Like a bit of a pavement landing stage or whatever. And then if you look in the water, it goes across there. Looking under the water now. So I wonder if this was like a stepped access at one point.
I must have just changed, altered the course of the river. Perhaps.
So when you come down here, you could be forgiven for just looking at the spraycrete and the concrete bits. But if you look down all the time, you're looking back in time. You're looking back to a time in the 1800s when the Cornbrook ran open and kids and people paddled in it. And going back even further in time, you'd probably come down and fish for wildlife. I don't think there's any wildlife in here now apart from the rats. Brilliant. This section here. Earlier on I was talking about when Roy came a few years ago. Like I say, Roy's been down here a few times. And they encountered sections that were completely dry, and here's one of them. This is a picture he took a few years ago. The big question was, why are parts of this Cornbrook River dry? When they ventured further upstream, and for us it'll be episode possibly 3 or 4, they found out why bits of the Cornbrook were dry. Now whether that's been rectified or not, we don't know yet. But this is how it was about 5 or 6 years ago. Whether the situation has changed and been put right upstream, we will find out in later episodes. So right now we're going under sort of Hume, sort of St George's area, and the goal today is to end up over near Moss side. I may have told you that already, but we're going to end up over near Moss side. Nice bit of pot there. You know how old it is, though. It could be from someone's someone might have bought that from B&Q. And then again, it might have been Mrs. Potter's from 1870. What's that then?
Oh, shit.
Tell you what, it'd be good to metal detect down here, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I think you'd find all sorts. Because I think you'd have pretty much a free reign, because I bet
No one.
you'd be the first person ever to come here metal detecting. I mean, you know, you can tell how old this is. This is Manchester city centre, and you're looking at stone, so you can tell just how dated this is. But you know, as always, it's very difficult to date it. You know, trying to find out when these culverts were done, it's really difficult. I suspect. Do you think this is stone and brick again?
Yeah, it is. The spraycrete, the stonework is the original bank of the river, I imagine, before it was culverted and it was open.
Right, so this we're about to enter a full stone section now, and this takes us underneath Stretford Road. Absolutely beautiful. It's a shame it's not like this all the way, because this is so much more picturesque. Anyway, what have you found there, James?
Bit of foam china.
Has it got a pattern on it?
Yeah.
Hasn't it? That's somebody's plate that they probably threw out in an argument in 1967. The actual floor there is brick. Beautiful stone, quite an unusual square outfall there. Is that metal?
Yeah.
That's probably utilities above there. Rusted to hell. I think we should put a report about some of these things. I don't think anyone's been down here for years. Right, look at that. That is just phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Beautiful. So let's walk underneath the stone. Have we just short-lived down there? Is it concrete again there?
Yeah, as we're going to Stretford Road.
Right, let's crack on. What have you got?
Oh, yeah, you get a lot of them because everywhere.
Do you know what that is?
Oh, the Victorians ate a lot of.
Victorians ate them.
They did.
That was fast food in Victorian times.
Oysters.
Yeah, they used to bring them in from Fleetwood. Probably the nearest place was Fleetwood, and sell them cheap. You buy a bag of them and eat them. Now we consider them a delicacy, but the Victorians ate them just for just like your
double cheeseburger.
Your double cheeseburger, yeah. That is fantastic that you found that. In fact, that's quite amazing that you found that actually. That is, I'm seriously asking the question, is that seriously someone's Victorian fast food that they've tossed to one side? Or from the very early 1900s? Incredible. Good find, pal, good find. So I don't know if you remember in the first Cornbrook one, I gave you I'm talking about hints to the Cornbrook. Nobody's seen the Cornbrook, but hints to it, you know. Cornbrook Street, Cornbrook tram station, Cornbrook Grove, and that's where we are now. We're underneath Cornbrook Grove. I'm probably showing you a little clip of it now, but it's just so alien down here. Just to think above us, I'm thinking now. Roy's told me where we are, and I'm thinking, yeah, I know where we are, but down here it's just. I might as well be in outer space, to be honest with you. It's just so alien to everything that's going on above ground above us. Which is also one of the fascinations for coming down here, is that while the city bustles away above you, somehow down here, although it's a bit smelly and it's a bit dangerous at times, there's a kind of peace. Okay, so we're back in Spray Creek and you can see the Cornbrook ahead down there. It takes a significant turn to the left as we go around Hulme again. This bit now, ahead there, you can see, goes underneath Cornbrook Road. Now you may recall the opening scene to this video had Ena Sharples. That iconic picture of Ena Sharples looking over Manchester, the Manchester area, and it really is a brilliant photograph. I love that photograph, many people do. And this section here now goes towards Clifford Court, which is where she stood. That block was called Clifford Court. She stood there and she had that iconic picture taken of her. I'm going to show you some pictures of above ground. I'll show you where we are above ground as well now. Cornbrook Street, the street that got chopped in half. The side-by-side maps will demonstrate what's going on. Look at the left-hand map. You'll see Cornbrook Street runs straight down diagonally across that side, and it goes across Chorlton Road. You see the red X, that's where it ended eventually. Look at the right hand map. The red arrow shows the route of the existing Cornbrook Street. The X is in roughly the same spot, but if you look on the other side of Chorlton Road where the red X is, it's just green, it's just greenery and fields. Now the other thing I want to draw your attention to on the left hand map, you'll see Clifford Street. Later, a certain tower block will be built in that area, and it would carry the name of that street, Clifford Court, and that's where our famous photograph was taken. But let's just have a look at Cornbrook Street. There's the existing bit, and as we spin the camera around now, you'll see we'll look across Chorlton Road. There's Chorlton Road, and you can just see it's now a path in the middle of a green field. The Cornbrook River is underneath there, by the way. It runs along there, underneath the former part of Cornbrook Street. So what did it look like? Well, we have to go back to that picture, and you'll just get a glimpse of the old Cornbrook Street, the bit that disappeared underneath Ena's feet there. You'll see the cars parked down there. But anyway, here's a picture of the bit of Cornbrook Street that still exists. So this is it. This is the lower part of Cornbrook Street. The terraced houses are long since gone, replaced by a field, a bit of a playing field, and 1960s tower blocks. So remember the opening scene to this video. We had Ena Sharples in that iconic picture, stood on the balcony, queen of everything she sees over Manchester. Well, we had to come and visit it because it's relevant to where we are in the Cornbrook. This is Clifford Court, and she stood up on the 11th floor up there on a balcony. Very different back then because now it's been done up, it's full of scaffolding and all sorts, but this is the actual place. We think the picture was taken from over here, from Grafton Court, which is just behind it, because it's kind of almost like an aerial shot, but they did it from the block of flats behind. But I love it, and I had to include it because when I found out the Cornbrook was coming to this area, we had to bring this into it. The two courts, Clifford Court and Grafton Court, were used in the opening scenes for Coronation Street between 1965 and 1979. So, although they look quite modern today, underneath they've got quite a history to them and quite a heritage associated with them. A lot of speculation as to where that photo was taken. So here's my theory, which I think is true. You may or may not disagree with me. Clifford Court is where the red X is on the old map on the left. Clifford Court was named after Clifford Street, now demolished. Take a look at the picture. Below Ena, yellow X, a school. You'll see a school type building. In the background, blue X, a building with a chimney. Look at the map. Yellow X, you'll see a school. In the background, blue X, you'll see a brewery. So it was a picture. In the background is Hulme and Moss side, and that's the street you can see just below Ena's feet. That's Cornbrook Street, long since gone. The bit of Cornbrook Street we demonstrated had been pulled down. The storyline was that Ena Sharples decided to go looking for a flat, apparently. And those tower blocks that were built in the 60s had just been built. Clifford Court, and I can't remember the other one, I'll put it on screen. Grafton Court, thanks Roy, had just been built. Ena Sharples goes out to take a look at moving into one of those flats. Now that episode was episode 565 of Coronation Street, and it was broadcast on the 11th of May 1966. So there's some speculation that that picture is commonly dated 1968. There's a theory that that date might be wrong unless they went back later and took that photo, but it certainly ties in with the episode 565, 11th of May 1966. So we open with the lines, "Look down there, Mrs. Sharples, the whole world is changing, they're pulling it down. Someday everybody will have to be rehoused. Coronation Street will be down and all the other streets like it." I have to tell you what Ena's reply was. I'd like to think she said this as she stood on the balcony. I'm not quite sure because we can't get that episode. It's not been digitised. This is Ena's reply. She says, and I won't do an impression. "Aye, but I'll be in my little wooden box by then. Look, living as high as this is alright for the millionaires and the sparrows, but not for me. And for Ena, that puts end to any talk of high-rise living in these new tower blocks. She turns and she goes back to Coronation Street. But I hope now you can see the link between the opening scenes of this video and the Cornbrook and our journey today. I just had to get it in. It's just a classic, iconic photograph. I don't know about you boys, but I think it's time for a brew, if you can see me. James?
It's about brew.
What have you got for us today?
We've got fresh tea.
fresh tea? Go on, what else?
And
Don't tell us. Don't tell us, it's always a surprise, isn't it? So far we've got fresh tea, so well, let's see how he does fresh tea down here. Let's crack on with it.
I don't know if I've got a spoon though.
Right, don't, no. Right, I'll have a bit more, please, sir.
Yeah, more tea, Vicar.
More?
More tea.
Every time I come out with you, James,
It's too deep.
I lose the end of my finger.
I think you need to buy some more spoons.
I think you need...
Yours looks a bit older.
It's like a building site above.
Proper milk that as well. There you go, it's alright, isn't it? I can't wait, what have you got to eat?
Homemade fruit milk.
Fruit? Tea cake?
Tea cakes.
Very good, you've done well there.
Peanut butter.
Oh yeah.
Right, oh, peanut butter on tea cakes, nice one.
Good to see a bit of water down here though. I mean, last time I come in here it was bone dry. There was one water in James's flask.
We can actually smell smoke. We suspect that we suspect there's a bus stop above us, and we can smell people smoking above us, and we're laughing and joking, and they're probably hearing us thinking, what the hell is going on down there? So annoying because you don't know what it was, but obviously at one time, if you could get hold of an old photo, you'd have seen exactly what it was. Bridge, wall, footbridge, base of a footbridge, you can tell, but you see it goes in there, into the side of the culvert. And the footings for it go across, and then it goes over there. I don't know how you did this in one go. What was it you say? You'd rather what?
Shit in both hands and clap and actually come down into the slum again.
And there you are.
There we are again.
You having a shit?
Trying to get a good fist ball. If you're doing that, you are going to do it.
Right, concrete street a bit here.
Had a bit of a back stretch. All stretch is fine, boys.
Nice stretch there. Another man over there. Concrete. And that's what we've come down from, that long stretch there. So do we know where we are?
Towards Maher Gardens.
Mayor Gardens.
Beyond this bend.
Is that residential?
Yeah.
How long is this bit? Or is it
So,
only just that lot?
Sewer crosses here, that's what that is.
So that's a sewer apparently. You want to keep checking on like where you're going to get out, don't you?
We're not getting out here, are we not?
Well, depends whether you can push that up or not. How far does that go down? Right, so... Bloody hell. Right, how did you get through here?
Crouch.
I don't want to put my hands in it.
Why not?
Not that fresh. Bloody hell.
Down here.
Isn't it?
They grow from the rat poo.
Yeah, so what you get is you get rat droppings down here, and sometimes it creates a little ecosystem. Actually quite beautiful. Not that I'm trying to polish a turd or anything.
It's the early stages, I think.
Yeah, possibly. Do you remember when Roy went through the quagmire last time in part 1? What I forgot to mention to you was, if you watch that again, when he went behind the ivy curtains, and you could see the rats in that tunnel, there were little white specks along there, and that was all mould growing on rat poo. How gorgeous is that? Anyway, there you go. Enough of nature for you. Let's crack on in this filthy shithole. No, I like it really. Oh yeah, someone's mattress coming through there. Yeah. Don't know what that's about. I ain't got a clue what that's about. What is that? I don't know. Hundreds and hundreds of bricks under the water. They're here, all along here. And it makes you wonder that when they pulled a lot of the terraced houses down above, a lot of the slum housing, if you just literally push the brickwork into the Cornbrook, out of sight, out of mind. But, and it's in a particular section, so it would possibly tie in with development up above and demolition. That one says New Hay on it, New Hay. New Hay, that's near you, James.
Yeah.
Not far from you. Anyway, we're not far away from Moss Side now, or the edges of Moss Side. So we've come underneath Hulme and towards Moss Side. Back's killing. Is it getting any less stooping a bit?
More stooping.
More stooping?
Oh yes.
Oh, bloody hell. Right, okay. Let's crack on.
Alright.
Oh God! Oh, interesting fact for you. Look at the comedy repair there. That's actually patchwork. That some road signs.
Manchester Council's finest now, it's a...
How have they done that? They've kind of put. Is that the road signs have been put in from in this side, isn't it? Your guess is as good as mine. There. Your guess is as good as mine. Definitely Heath Robinson. Right. No rats.
No, that's...
You was looking forward to seeing a rat, weren't you?
No.
You was going to take it home for Sunday lunch.
Really?
Yeah, you bastard. Anyway, sorry about that. We might still see one, so you might still get lunch, but whatever.
We can leave it down here, like.
He does like a bit of rodent on the Sunday, don't you? Right, so there you go. This is Journey's End, actually, underground now. You're knackered, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you knackered? How are you doing?
I'm fine, mate. Spine of steel, mate. Spine of steel.
So this is Journey's End below ground. We're underneath Moss Side now. So we're going to crack on forward a little bit, and then there's a manhole where we can get out of.
Right, let's go.
So our journey has brought us here. This is Moss Side in Manchester, and we're now 2 kilometres from where the Cornbrook outflows into the Ship Canal. Remember back in episode 1. So it's taken us 2 episodes to come 2 kilometres. So here we are at the end of episode 2. Episode 3 will continue from here in this direction on our journey around the south side of the city of Manchester towards Gorton and the source of the Cornbrook. Right, there you go. How long have we been down there?
3 hours.
Hours, it's going dark, isn't it? Anyway, we're finally out, and I face my nemesis going back into that mud at the bottom of that ladder. I know you did the whole lot, didn't you? I couldn't have done what you did last time in part 1.
Easy going.
But that mud was horrendous when you look down that manhole. Anyway, you got something for me?
Oh yeah.
You said you were going to give me something.
Where is it?
What, half a crown? A shilling? Half a crown? A medal? What's that for? For going back into the mud?
He's facing your nemesis, I think.
I've got a medal for facing my nemesis. Anyway, there you go. Thank you very much, Roy, for being our guide again. We don't know half of this stuff without you, so
welcome.
Really appreciate it. And not forgetting he did the whole lot in one night. Well, I couldn't do that, whatever. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Take care, and we'll all see you in the next video. Bye for now.
See you in a bit.